So feel free, Prabhuji, and devotees will join and they will keep joining. But by all means, please, you can start the kirtan if you like.
Okay. Prabhu, is it okay if we sing Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu on the advent of Gaur Purnima?
Sure,
Seeking
Prabhuji.
love.
By all means, as I said, we usually do the Mangala Charan, but feel free
Ah,
if you
okay, so before Kirtan, we should do Mangala Charan. Huh?
like. Up to you, which way you will prefer, Prabhuji.
Okay.
If you,
Yeah,
if you
after Kirtan, we'll do Mangala Charan.
after Kirtan, let's do Mangala Charan.
Okay. You can share the lyrics of Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Uh, Let me, oh, my camera is off. Hari Bol.
I should also.
Okay, I'm just looking for that. Okay, so you see the punch to Mahan. Yeah?
Okay. Looks good. So after this, we will sing Jai Radha Madhav, and after that, you can present the Mangala Charan slide. Then we will
Sounds good.
send that.
Great, Prabhuji. Let's do it. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, a very warm welcome to all of you on the advent of Gaur Purnima. We will sing this song to invoke the blessings of Lord Chaitanya. So yesterday we observed the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya, and today Jagannath Mishra's feast is there. So let's invoke these blessings. So you can go towards the lyrics, Prabhu. Jai Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya kar more Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya kar more Tum bina ke dayalu Jagat sansar Tum bina ke dayalu Jagat sansar. Prabhu, there is a song, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Daya Karo More. That lyrics, yes. Tum bina ke dayalu Jagat sansare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya kar more Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya kar more Tum bina ke dayalu Jagat sansare Tum bina ke dayalu Jagat sansare Patita pavana hai tu Avavatara Patita pavana hai tu Avavatara समापतिता प्रभु न पाइबे हारा समापतिता प्रभु न पाइबे हारा आहा प्रभु नित्यानंदा प्रेमानंद सुखी आहा प्रभु नित्यानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी कृपा बालकारो आमी बड़ दुखी कृपा बालकारो आमी बड़ दुखी दया करो सीतापति अद्वैता गोसाई दया करो सीतापति अद्वैता गोसाई अब कृपा बले का चैतन्य अब कृपा बले का चैतन्य हा स्वरूप सनातना रूपा रघुनाथ स्वरूप सनातना रूपा रघुनाथ भट्ट जुगा त्रिजीवा प्रभु लोकनाथ भट्ट जुगा श्रीजीवा प्रभु लोकनाथ दया करो श्री आचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास दया करो श्री आचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास रामचंद्र संग मागे नरोत्तम रामचंद्र संग मागे नरोत्तम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा प्रभु पदा जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय श्री चैतन्य की जय और धन्यवाद की Prabhuji, would you like to read the first words of the translation?
Sure. Shall we do a quick Mangla Charan, Prabhuji?
Yes, bro, we'll do Mangalacharan.
Very, very nice and powerful bhajan from one of the great acharyas, Prabhuji. Hari, Hari Bol. And Puja Mataji has sung it plus. She had just sent a message to me. I think she was meant to send to everyone that it was such a melodious song. And it is. Narottam Das Thakurji, is very famous for such a beautiful transcendental poetry he has put together. Nice, nice. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhuji, would you like to lead Mangalacharan, or shall I do it like we usually do, as you said?
Yes, I can lead.
Hare Bol. Please, Prabhuji.
ज्ञानतिमिनन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया उन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स पदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् अद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं राधाकृष्णपदान्वितांश्च श्रीकृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त नमस्ते गौरांगी राधेभानु श्रीदेवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय भागवतोगस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। प्लीज वन मोर टाइम। हरे कृष्णा
कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे
राम राम हरे हरे। वन लास्ट टाइम। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So I would like to thank VP Govind Prabhu from the bottom of my heart that he has given me this opportunity to share my understanding and realization on Mantra 3 of Īśopaniṣad. Just a second.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome, everyone. And so good to have you all. So I've given a very brief introduction. Welcomed for Prabhuji in the chat. Prabhuji is very nice. Prabhuji is very well versed in the Shastric evidences. We are doing Bhakti Vaibhav together, which is a systematic study of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhuji finally accepted our invitation to come along and lead us in Shri Īśopaniṣad mantra chanting. And well, Prabhuji is always welcome. Prabhuji been with us once before, and I requested Prabhuji, I would like to come back and introduce the way you preach, the way you teach. So we are so lucky to have him on the session. So Prabhuji will lead today's session. This is the verse I will share in the chat. So yeah, everyone has it, but I guess the screen is also shared so everyone can see. Prabhuji, over to you.
Thank you, VP Govind Prabhu, for such a beautiful introduction. Actually, I don't have any qualification to discuss even Shastra. So I think VP Govind Prabhu is a very beautiful devotee. He has supported me in the Bhakti Vaibhav journey, and he has been of assistance to all the devotees also. He has been the binding factor of our group. So I am very encouraged by his enthusiasm in preaching and in his own sadhana also. So I don't have so much qualification, but whatever I have heard from my guru, I would like to just repeat and make a humble attempt, humble service today. So thank you very much again, and we can start. Hare Krishna. So Īśopaniṣad basically It is one of the Upanishads. So Īśopaniṣad is actually the book which is sought after by many of the Mayavadis also. So if you see the first verse in the invocation, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So basically, Mayavadis also recite that shloka. Even those who do yoga of their physical body, they also recite that shloka at the end. And even the Īśāvaśyam principle everybody knows. So this book is very, very famous and is made for a very, very, very large audience. But still, Prabhupada used to say that if we can understand this one book, then we can basically advance towards our relationship with Krishna. And the basic philosophy of Krishna consciousness can become very, very clear in us. So I will just revisit. I think whatever Prabhu has covered and how the Īśopaniṣad flow goes. So I think in the very starting, in the invocation prayers, it is described how the Lord is complete. He is Purnam. So the Purnam word is used 6 times in the invocation prayers. And not only the Lord is complete, but all the systems, all the solar system or even the body, all the bodies of living entities, all the universes, they are also complete in itself. There is some echo. Okay. What should I do?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Is everything okay? You can see the slides, yes?
One message was there that there is some echo.
All right, okay. Yes, yeah. Maybe, Prabhuji, if you have the headset or ear plugs, that will help. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, we have seen in the past,
And please feel free to ask questions. And even if I'm going a little bit fast, do let me know. I will slow down my pace. Okay, bro, please.
Very well.
It's
Yes.
it's more of a discussion rather than just a lecture.
Sure,
Yeah.
Prabhuji. We always encourage everyone to ask questions and always keep it in the discussion mode. And I'm so glad you're here so we can do discussion on that. But very nicely mentioned about the invocation mantra Srila Prabhupada used when he started mantra 1. And we have been discussing that. A very good time to start. We have discussed mantra 3 as well. And today we are planning to conclude it with lessons.
Okay, sure.
Very good.
So we will, yeah. So mantra 1 is basically Īśāvaśyam idam sarvam yat kinchat jagatyan jagat ten taktena bhunjita ma krida kasya svidhanam. So basically Īśāvaśyam principle. So this is the principle. If we follow this principle, then what is the result? That is mentioned in the second verse. And if we don't follow this principle, then what is the result? That is mentioned in this third verse, I think, which you have been discussing. Going through has been leading this discussion. So Prabhu, now the voice is okay?
Yes, Prabhu, much better. Thank you so much.
Okay. So the Īśāvaśyam principle says that we have to act within our quota. So because we are all very, very minute spirit souls, parts and parcels of Krishna. Mammeva ancho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana manasasthani indriyani prakritistoni karsa. So Krishna himself says in the 15th chapter that all the living entities are parts and parcels of me, and only because of the mind and senses they are roaming around existence. We are part of Krishna, and Krishna gives us certain sources of our according to our subtle and body. So whatever resources we and we have to act within that quota. Basically, we have to use those resources again in service of Krishna. So if we are able to employ those resources in service of Krishna, then that will be the successful use of our quota. And while operating in this quota, we should not breach others' quota. So we should not act in such a way that others' service is impaired. So this is a very, very important point. Basically, if you are working in occupational duty also, if you are dealing with devotees, if you are doing some service together, then no other devotee should feel impaired in his own services. Or even in occupational duty, your area should be well defined within which you have to work. So whenever the area is intersecting with somebody else, then you have to be a little bit more attentive and careful while dealing with that. So that is the proper following of Īśopaniṣad principle. That when we, so Īśopaniṣad principle is indirectly also, you can say that acting in terms of in your relationship with Krishna. So whatever Krishna has given, we will utilize those things in service of him only, because everything belongs to him. Ultimate proprietor of our body, of our subtle body, and of all the resources. For example, we have house, we have wife, we have children, we have temple, we have so many table, laptop, mic. So everything belongs to Krishna. Everything is coming out of Krishna, because as we discussed, that everything which is coming out of Krishna, that is complete in itself and it belongs to him. So when we recognize that proprietorship, and when we recognize our submissive position, which is very, very tiny, then we would like to, with that submissive consciousness, we would like to engage that thing which is coming out of Krishna in his service, and with love and gratitude. And that is our relationship with Krishna. And then there are details how basically this relationship can be used to cultivate a spiritual conception of life, which we can study later, maybe when we read the later verses, 5 verses. So if we live our life in this way, that whatever is given to me, it is of Krishna, and I'm just a instrument, or I'm just a temporary owner. So there is a primary owner, and there is a secondary owner. Primary is Krishna, secondary is us. So we are just temporary owners. So when we come into this material world, then also we don't have anything, and when we go, then also we will not have anything. But for this brief span when we are living, we are given some things, so that we can use those things in Krishna's service, and that will be the success of life. If whatever Krishna has given in this life, we can use in his service, and thus we can purify our consciousness. We can remove our subtle coverings which we have been carrying from past millions of births. So that is the progress. So this life is just a window in our eternal life. We have a eternal relationship with Krishna. Muktir hitvanyata rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. So what is our eternal relationship? That is our swarupa. When we serve Krishna in the spiritual world, we serve him with a rasa, either madhurya rasa, vatsalya rasa, or sakya rasa, dasya rasa, shanta rasa. So when we serve Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. And when Krishna reciprocates, then we would like to serve him more. And when we serve him more, then he reciprocates more. So this cycle goes on and on. So तो सॉरी मैं थोड़ा जल्दी भी बोल रहा हूँ, लेकिन अभी हम थोड़ा सा फिलॉसफी डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. तो यही हमारा जो मतलब स्थित देह भी बोलते हैं इसे, कि जब हम आध्यात्मिक जगत में जाते हैं तो हमारा एक रसा है नेचुरल, जिसमें हम कृष्णा को सर्व करते हैं, जहाँ से हम नीचे आए हैं. इसलिए हम रोज प्रे करते हैं कि किसी तरह वी गो टू द लोटस फीट ऑफ कृष्णा. किसी तरह हमें एक चरण की धूली बना के आप अपने चरणों पे लगा लीजिए. ओके, यस. सो पूजा माता जी हैज अ क्वेश्चन, देन वी कंटिन्यू. माता जी, प्लीज गो अहेड.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, I was muted. Now this rasa that is there, does we develop on its own, or when we pray to Krishna, we have to pray in the mood in which we want the relationship with the Krishna?
Yes, Mataji, very good question. Actually, this is a very involved question, and generally it requires guidance of a bona fide spiritual master to understand these things. So generally a soul has a natural propensities, even material propensities and spiritual propensities. So some services we like, some services we don't like. But when we advance in spiritual life, and when we are basically more attentive in our relationship with Krishna, and Krishna is also reciprocating, then we realize that which place, which service is giving me more pleasure, or in which rasa I'm feeling more reciprocation of Krishna. So that requires a lot of guidance from authorities. And sometimes, as you are saying, that sometimes if you are too much attached to authorities, then whatever rasa authorities are performing devotional service, that becomes your rasa. That is also yes. So both the things are possible.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. 100% question. Okay, no questions. Okay, so basically, I was describing that how we have an eternal position in relationship with Krishna, and actually, mantra one is just a manifestation of how we can execute uh, according to that relationship in this material world very easily without complicating anything. And if we follow the mantra one, if we follow within our quota and don't breach others' quota, seeing the Lord's proprietorship over everything, then there is mantra two. So in mantra two, you can live very happily and nicely and blissfully because you are always happy and satisfied in your relationship with Krishna. You are like the fish in the water. So in this material world, basically, so many people are doing so many things, but they are not finding any happiness. So the true happiness we get is when we feel connected, when we basically Vishayavinivartante Niraharas Dehina Raso Varjam Rasopyasya Param Drishtva Nivartante. So when our soul feels connected to Krishna, then we feel the real happiness, and then we feel like the fish in the water. So suppose you take the fish out of the water, then what will it do? It will basically do lots of it will be agitated and it will not know how to find happiness. But as soon as you put the fish back into the water, then fish becomes completely blissful and happy. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. So that is the state of consciousness which mantra 2 is describing. That if you follow the Īśopaniṣad principle, you can continue doing this for thousands of years. Your life will also expand, everything. The bliss and satisfaction of heart will also expand. You will not need anything. Actually, Krishna will arrange everything. So Krishna is arranging for everybody, all the pigeons also, all the dogs also. They are not going to work. They are not making. They are not cooking something. But Krishna is arranging food for them also. So why not us? He will arrange for us also, because we are very dear sons of Krishna. Krishna is our supreme father, and more than us, Krishna is eager for us to come back to Godhead. So if you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna takes 100 steps. So if you take one step of following mantra one, then mantra two, Krishna will give. Krishna will prolong your life. Krishna will give facilities to practice devotional service. Krishna will give you that association. For example, now Govind Prabhu is there for all of you, who is facilitating these sessions, and he is helping you moment to moment. Every weekend he is giving his valuable time. He is a very busy devotee actually, but still he is helping you. And I heard the lectures also. So basically, Prabhu is going very deep into this book. It's a very basic book, and we don't need to do so much discussion. But he is going deeper so that all of you can have a very firm foundation in Krishna consciousness. So basically, in the mantra we will find what is the result when we don't follow the Īśopaniṣad principle. When we don't follow, then we become the killer of the soul. Basically, because we are not acting in our relationship with Krishna, and that's why there is no spiritual advancement, and that's why that is the definition of the killer of the soul. Because human body is meant to be utilized for self-realization, but if you don't do that, then you become the killer of the soul, and the result of that is you will enter into the lower planets. So yeah, Atmaha. So as I think Govind Prabhu has also covered the responsibility part. So Prabhupada mentions in this purport that human life is distinguished from animal life due to its heavy responsibilities. So whenever you are entering into any activity in your life, you should ask yourself, what is the purpose of this activity? For example, you are doing this discussion with Govind Prabhu continuously, Īśopaniṣad. So you should have that sense of responsibility. Okay, here is a person who is sacrificing 1 hour for me. How should I make maximum utilization of this time? I should read whatever Prabhu told more deeply. I should ask questions in a humble manner. And then I should basically form a very good friendly relationship, or maybe a humble relationship with him, so that I can make maximum advantage of this divine knowledge which has been surpassed, which has descended from Govind Prabhu. So like that, if we feel that sense of responsibility, then everything becomes purposeful. You become enthusiastic. You feel connected to Krishna. You feel connected to your authorities. Then automatically you start acting on the spiritual platform, and your life becomes very, very blissful. Otherwise, if you see in this Kali Yuga, nobody has any sense of responsibility, basically, actually speaking. So suppose you are a family man, then you should take responsibility of making arrangements for your family members to advance in Krishna consciousness. For example, if you are going to occupational duty, if you are working under a manager, then you should do your occupational duty very, very nicely, 8 hours. And you should basically, you will be, because you are a devotee, you are representing Srila Prabhupada's movement uh, in the office. So your achar should be like that. So that is your responsibility. And those who are in, basically, according to Varna and Ashrama, there are various responsibilities. So there are 4 Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and there are 4 ashramas also: Grahastha, Brahmacharya, and Vanaprastha and Sannyasi. So in Brahmacharya, you should read Vedic scriptures. So Govind Prabhu has been helping you in reading these books. So you should spend more time to understand the actual content, the message of Srila Prabhupada, the mood of Srila Prabhupada. So that is the duty of a brahmacharya. And in Grahasthashram, you should basically involve yourself in charity. You should invite guests at your home. You should do kirtan, feed them prasadam. So these are all duties of Grahastha. And Vanaprastha, basically, Vanaprastha and Sannyasi, more and more they are going towards Krishna. So basically, they have this duty of spreading Krishna consciousness, and just by their own protection, the degree to which they can feel the protection of Krishna, they can distribute that message to others also. Yes, Pooja Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. When we are in this material world and we are doing material activities, and at times we remember Krishna and at times we don't. So, but when we remember Krishna in doing our material activities, then can we offer our fruits or whatever we have done to Krishna? Because it's a material thing that we are doing, but we are still remember Krishna at times, though not all the time.
Yes, Mataji. So what is the question?
Yeah, the question is, remembering Krishna and offering him the material activities that we are doing and something that we are enjoying, can we offer that as a sense of enjoyment to Krishna? But it is a material activity, like we have make some food. But I know we offer food prasadam to Krishna and we eat that. But something like family time, we are having some with a family discussion. We are enjoying that. At that time, we remember Krishna. And that can be said that Krishna, I'm enjoying this, but it's a material activity, but I'm still offering my fruits to you. Can we do that?
Yes, Mataji, very good question actually. So there are grades of Krishna consciousness, Mataji. So there are basically Karma Mishra Bhakti, and basically Karma Yoga, and then Jnana Yoga, and then Bhakti Yoga. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yat Karoshi Yadashnasi, Yajju Hoshi Dadasi Yat, Yat Tapassasi Kaunteya, Tat Kurushya Madam. Govind Prabhu, do you want to reply to this question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for allowing me to answer that. So, Mataji, very good question. You said that we do a lot of things materially. We are not spiritual yet, but Krishna is all Satya Chitananda. He's fully spiritual. Could we offer something which we have, and what we have is material, because we are in material world. We are full of material energy. Could we do that? Now, when you said it, I was thinking, well, we have children at home, and children play with their own plastic kitchen. So like my daughter is there, she plays around with the kitchen, and sometimes she comes, even though she's 9.5 years old now. But I remember the old time as well. She will call me and she say, "Oh, I have cooked food for you, Daddy. Come." And I will go, and she will offer the pretend food, the plastic food. to me. And me being the father, I don't want to upset. And it's not what she would offer, it's the consciousness behind it, it's the intentions behind it. And I would become so happy that my daughter, while she's playing with her toys, they all are plastic, nothing is real, but still she was thinking about me as a father. So I would think, Mataji, certainly, because Krishna will not see what we are offering, because Krishna says patram pushpam phalam toyam. So these things we can go, and I have seen it when I was in France. Then it was middle of the winter, we didn't have the flowers. What did we do? We went out, there were leaves there, and we made the garland for the deities from leaves, and we offered them. So not only what it says in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, devotees, they actually do it. So by all means, Mataji, it's not, Krishna is not going to see what we offer, but what Krishna is going to see, that what are the intentions behind it. Do we have a motive behind it? A selfish motive, like a lot of business people, they do it. They will offer, like it used to happen. I don't know if it still happens. Oh, I will give you, like I used to go to Hanuman temple, because where my home was, Hanuman temple was there. And every Tuesday you will see a big queue, and people will say, oh, Hanumanji, I will come back and I will do this and that for you. If you will make my promotion happen, if you will make my child happy and all that. So whatever they offer, they have material desires behind it. Or when we offer to Krishna, whatever we have, material, as you said, but if our intentions are to please Krishna, Krishna, this is what I have, and what I have, I would like to offer you. Just like a child, my daughter, she would just, it's not a real food, it's not a real, but she would like to offer. Hare Krishna. Yes, please, Mataji. Oh, sorry, I thought you go hand again. I hope, Mataji, that helped a bit.
Yes, it helps. It's the consciousness that what we are offering, that is material, it doesn't matter, but consciousness must be clear.
That's it.
Thank you. Well explained, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for asking such a nice question. Ramapriya, Prabhuji, for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Very nicely told. So it's a process of cultivation. Anyabhilichata shunyam, jnana karmadhyanavitam, anukulyena, Krishna anushilanam. So so we have to do activities which are favorable to Krishna, and we have to cultivate those propensities. So when we cultivate those propensities, then our devotion increases in our heart. So what Govind Prabhu was telling, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, in that verse, Krishna uses bhakti word three times. So the most important thing is your devotion for Krishna in your heart, as Mataji is saying, clear consciousness. So when we have devotion in our heart, then gradually our mind becomes spiritual, our mind becomes clear, and the lower modes go away. So that is the clear consciousness. And like that, when you become more and more confident with your relationship with Krishna and Guru, then you can easily see the other person also as spirit soul, and then mold those souls towards Krishna. You can encourage them also how they can advance towards Krishna. So actually that is the opposite of the killer of the soul. So anybody who anybody who does not facilitate the promotion of Krishna consciousness of any living entity, that is also killer of the soul. So that is one more purpose we should have in our life, that whosoever we meet, we should think that how this person can be benefited in towards Krishna, in Krishna consciousness. So that is also desiring the welfare of all the living entities. So this is the responsibility part, and then basically based on the human life full of heavy responsibilities, we can distinguish between two types of living entities, suras and asuras. Suras are godly persons who are cognizant of those responsibilities, who know that what are the responsibilities. That's why we are discussing that wherever you are going, you should be cognizant of what is the purpose and what is your specific responsibility. And those who are neglectful, those who say, okay, I will just enjoy, I don't know what is the responsibility, that is the asura population. Those are the demons. So it is very important to be attentive and to understand what is the purpose wherever you are going. And in mode of goodness, you can understand why you are performing. And basically, only these two types of human beings are existing in the entire 14 planetary systems. So, and in Kali Yuga, actually, it's the Asura population has increased because there is no sense of responsibility. Like these sanskaras have to be given by parents and guru, but these days, like even like mostly people don't know Shastra, because we have to learn Shastra in order to understand that how to use our life in Krishna service. And yeah, so basically in the so I'll give you one analogy that in Satyuga, these Suras and Asuras used to live on different planets. So you must have heard of Narasimhadev's story, where Hiranyakashipu was tormenting the demigods just by doing his tapasya on Asuri planets. So in that story, different like divine people are living on different planets and demoniac are living on different planets. And in Treta Yuga, the demons and divine are living in different countries. So if you see the story of Ram and Lakshman, Ram, Lakshman and Ravan, how Ram defeated Ravan. Ravan was living in Sri Lanka and Ram was in India. So those were in different countries. Sri Lanka was a country of demons and India was a country of devotees. And in Dwapar Yuga, you will see that these divine and demoniac propensities are residing in different persons. For example, Duryodhana is demoniac, Arjuna is divine, Yudhishthira is divine, Karna is maybe in between. So like that in Dwapar Yuga, different living entities are dominated by one of the divine or demoniac. And in Kali Yuga, both the qualities are residing in the same person. So there is no segregation. So we don't know when we are performing divine activity according to our propensity, when we are performing demoniac activity according to our propensity carried from the previous time. So basically, that's why our life should be aimed at purification. So when we purify ourselves, when we cultivate more devotional quality, godly qualities, then basically we are advancing more and more towards our Krishna. It will enable us to follow mantra one very, very easily. Otherwise, it becomes difficult because we are just acting on our deliberations. So our deliberations should be purified. They should be changed according to the intelligence given by Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So then in the second, yes, Lord. Thank you. Thank you for summarizing. So in the next paragraph, Prabhupada is summarizing that intelligent human beings must always remember that the soul obtains a human form after an evolution of many millions of years in the cycle of transmigration. The material world is sometimes compared to an ocean, and the human body is compared to a solid boat designed especially to cross this ocean. The Vedic scriptures and the acharyas and saintly teachers are compared to expert boatmen, and the facilities of the human body are compared to favorable breezes that help the boat fly smoothly to its desired destination. If with all these facilities, a human being does not fully utilize the life for self-realization, he must be considered Atmaha, a killer of the soul. Shri Īśopaniṣad warns in clear terms that the killer of the soul is destined to enter into the darkest region of ignorance to suffer perpetually. So here Prabhupada is defining who is killer of the soul. So any person who is not utilizing his human body for self-realization, he is the killer of the soul. And how you can utilize? By taking the shelter of a spiritual master, by riding the waves of Shastra, by getting onto the solid boat designed by spiritual master. So spiritual master is the captain of that boat, Karnadhar. So I think there is one verse in first chapter of Bhagavatam also at the end, which tells that how a spiritual master is the expert captain of this boat, and we just have to ride onto that boat, and he will row us to the spiritual world. He will row us. So this basically this material world is like a material ocean where conditioned souls are drowning, but this lot of water which will reduce into the water contained in a hoof print of a cow. So that is the mercy of spiritual master, mercy of Srila Prabhupada, mercy of Krishna, which enables us to transfer back to spiritual world and minimize the material problems and minimize the bhava rog, minimize the bhava mahadava, minimize the forest fire, this material nature. So then in the third paragraph, Prabhupada will talk that how economic necessities and basic necessities are arranged for all the living entities. Even swines, dogs, camels, asses, they are enjoying nicely. They are doing eating, sleeping, mating, defending. आहार निद्रा भय मैथुनाम च सामान्यते पशुभिर नरणाम धर्मेण हीना एको अधिको विशेषो धर्मेण हीना पशुभिर समान. So basically these four activities, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, we are also doing, animals are also doing. But then what is the difference between us and them? That is dharma. Without dharma, we can't say that we are human beings. So when we perform religious activities and perform according to the guidance of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, then basically we are progressive in our spiritual path. And that is basically termed by Prabhupada as the discharge duties of higher nature. And similarly, the duties of human beings have to perform are higher than those of animals, who are always engaged in simply feeding their hungry stomachs. Yet the modern soul-killing civilization has only increased the problems of the hungry stomach. When we approach a polished animal in the form of a modern civilized man and ask him to take interest in self-realization, he will say that he simply wants to work to satisfy his stomach, and that there is no need of self-realization for a hungry man. So you see that Prabhupada is he has taken out his hammer to hammer the materialistic person. He is using the word polished animal for today's materialistic person. And actually it's the truth, because you are not aiming towards your real goal, towards your self-realization. What is the purpose of human life? That you don't have knowledge and you are not aiming also. So you are only trying to increase the facilities of this eating, sleeping, mating, defending. So that is actually a polished animal. And more, so even if you feed the hungry man, then also for the timing he might get satisfied, but that will not give him supreme satisfaction, which will give him more and more satisfaction of heart. That will not happen. That can happen only through Krishna consciousness, only by practicing chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So chanting this mantra is the watering of the root. So just like there is a tree, right? If you water the leaves, then the tree will not grow. Leaves might wilt also. But if you water the root, then the leaves will also grow, branches will also grow, tree will give fruits also. So this Hare Krishna mantra is watering the root. It is nourishing our relationship with Krishna. And that is how basically we are coming out of our animalistic propensities and progressing towards Krishna. So chanting Hare Krishna mantra and taking devotee association is very important, and reading Shastra. So all these three things nourishes our plant of devotion, our Bhakti Lata beach given by the disciplic succession. So otherwise, if you don't follow this process, okay. The laws of nature are so cruel, however, that despite his denunciation of the need for self-realization and his eagerness to work hard to fill his stomach, he is always threatened by unemployment. So Prabhupada is saying that although like person is very working hard, and he is so much convinced that if he works hard, his life will be successful, but then also he is thwarted by unemployment. So why is this paradox there? So that's why Prabhupada is again and again emphasizing of the importance of taking to this process of Krishna consciousness, because there is no other solution. No other process will give you deep satisfaction of heart or deep internal happiness. So that's why Prabhupada is saying, Devi Yesha Gudamai, Mam Maya Dharatya, Mame Viye Prapadyante, Maya Metam Karanti. So unless you surrender to Krishna, unless you chant Hare Krishna, the material modes will not leave you, basically. So that is what Prabhupada is also mentioning. So, Prabhu, do we want to pause for questions, or should we continue?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Such a great explanation. The way you are kind of dissecting and explaining Srila Prabhupada's purpose. Awesome. Now, I will request if anyone has any questions. So, Prabhuji, the way usually it goes, if anyone has the questions, then like what Mataji did, either we just raise hands, we just mention the question in the chat. So, considering no one has said anything more, I think we can carry on. You have explained very nicely in the past. Mataji had asked the question on the killer of the soul. So I hope it's much clearer now that who is killer of the soul is. It could be the word is Atmaha, the killer of the soul, and a human does not fully utilize his life for self-realization is considered Atmaha. We, of course, we all should do. But with that, Prabhuji, I think we can carry on. The time we have, we can finish and we can conclude the verse, which is great, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So yeah. So actually, for applying all these principles, you need devotee association, and you need good, loving relationships. Just like Govind Prabhu is helping you all in applying those principles. So you should form a very, very loving and trustable relationship with him, so that he can help you more. Because in the starting, it's very difficult to assimilate and to visualize that. Okay, how will I dedicate my entire life to self-realization? I'm working 10 hours a day in company. I'm spending 4 hours in my family. 4 hours for homely activities. But how will this self-realization come 24 hours? So that's why devotee association is needed very much, and very, very nice relationships with your authorities is needed. So Prabhu, in the next paragraph, basically, so in the next paragraph, Prabhupada is just summarizing that the human life is not meant to work so hard. It is actually meant to for simple living and high thinking. Because Krishna will provide for everybody. You just need to stay connected with him and be Krishna conscious. Then Krishna will give you everything. So I will focus on the next paragraph. That is a very important paragraph, one theme I wanted to bring here. So in the Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter 41 to 43, it is stated that a man who enters upon the path of self-realization but does not complete the process despite having sincerely tried to realize his relationship with God is given a chance to appear in a family of Shuchi or Srimat. The word Shuchi indicates a spiritually advanced Brahmana, and Srimat indicates a Vaishya, a member of the mercantile community. So the person who fails to achieve self-realization is given a better chance in his next life due in his sincere efforts in his life. If even a fallen candidate is given a chance to take birth in a respectable and noble family, one can hardly imagine the status of one who has achieved success. By simply attempting to realize God, one is guaranteed birth in a wealthy or aristocratic family. But those who do not even make an attempt, who want to be in the covering of illusion, who are too materialistic and too attached to material enjoyment, must enter into the darkest regions of hell, as confirmed throughout the Vedic literature. So here you can see Prabhupada again, he is emphasizing that there is no other path apart from Krishna consciousness. And one more thing which is very, very optimistic and very, very like hopeful, which Prabhupada is saying, that even if you make a very, very little advancement in this process, it will save you from greatest of dangers. Neha vikrama nashasti pratyavayona vidyate swalpam api yasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. So swalpam, yeah. So in South we say na swalpam rice dena. So even if little bit, even if you just take prasadam from Govind Prabhu one time, it will save you from lot of dangers. So that is the beauty of this process, that there is no loss. So generally in material world we have projects, either we have to do 100% or 0%. So if we do 50%, it is equivalent to 0%. So manager will scold you, manager will fire you. He will say that project is not done, it is of no use. But the way things operate in spiritual world is different. If you do 5%, in the next life you will start from 5%. So you will advance like that, because it is the eternal bank account. So a little bit progress also you make, that will stay deposited in your eternal bank account. And that is why this attempt should be made, even if you are not able to follow, even if there is some despondency or difficulty, but you should make this attempt to interact with devotees, to take association with devotees, take Krishna Prasadam, to participate in this beautiful platform which Govind Prabhu and other devotees have created. So these are all platforms of getting Sukriti, of basically purifying ourselves and saving ourselves from the greatest dangers. But if we don't make the attempt also, then we will go to the darkest regions of it. So this attempt is very important. Attempt you should make. And if you make attempt, if you make half step, then Krishna will take 50 steps. So you should remember that. And if you basically do it in a bona fide way under the guidance of a devotee, then the result is like 1,000 times. So that is the beauty of this process. I wanted to highlight on this attempt part only, because all of us are practicing devotees, and there are instances when we are baffled by the material energy. But in that situation also, we should have courage to speak to a senior devotee and reveal our heart to him, and then take shelter of Krishna in that situation also. So that attempt and courage is needed from our side. Okay, we'll read. We have 2 minutes, so we'll read the rest of the paragraph. So such materialistic asuras sometimes make a show of religion, but their ultimate aim is material prosperity. The Bhagavad Gita rebukes 16.17 and 18 such men by calling them Atma Sambhavita, meaning that they are considered great only on the strength of deception and are empowered by the votes of the ignorant and by their own material wealth. Such asuras, devoid of self-realization and knowledge of Ishavasya, the Lord's universal proprietorship, are certain to enter into the darkest region. Yeah, so this is one of the greatest misconceptions, that the money which we have in our bank account will save us. Actually, it will not save us. Only Krishna can save us. So because Mare Krishna, Rakhe Krishna Mare. So generally, this is one of the demoniac propensity, that whatever we have, we think that like we will be saved by our family members, or we'll be saved by the money which we have in our bank account. But these things, actually, Prabhupada is saying that these are strength of deception and are empowered by the votes of ignorant and by their own material wealth. So we should never be dependent on our own material assets. Rather, we should be dependent on the descending mercy and the strength given by the devotee association and Guru's mercy. That is our real strength. So these are different conceptions which we can talk about as Govind Prabhu is teaching so many books to you. We can discuss what are spiritual conception, material conception. So these are spiritual conception, that we are totally dependent on Krishna, and basically we are dependent through that relationship by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and hearing from devotees. So when we act on that relationship, we become dependent on the mercy received through that process of hearing and chanting. And the conclusion is that as human beings, we are meant not simply for solving economic problem on a tottering platform, but for solving all the problems of the material life into which we have been placed by the laws of nature. So basically, our aim should not be only to solve the material economic problems, but we should inquire about ourselves. Aham Brahmasmi, that we are not this body, we are spirit, soul, and I want to act on the spiritual platform. And I want to basically come out of this cycle of Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. That is the real problem of material life. Economic problem is not a real problem, because we should have faith that Krishna will arrange for economic things, for basic necessity. But the real problem is this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Why we are here? Why we are in this material world? So that can be solved by Krishna consciousness, by applying the simple living high thinking process. Okay, Prabhu, I will stop here, and please feel free to correct or give inputs on whatever we discuss.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. As Mataji said in the chat, soul-searching session indeed. Prabhuji, we would love to call you back for any of those mantras which you would be, the way you have gone through Srila Prabhupada's purpose. I think, and the analogies and the reference to verses, some of them in Bhagavad Gita we have, some of them, like you mentioned, Anya Vilashya from Nectar of Devotion, we will do in future. So, wow, keeping the blessings. So, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for that session. The last thing you mentioned about the efforts, the attempt we do. The great example of Jatayu comes in Ramayana, that Lord Rama himself did his last prayer for Jatayu, which others, well, his own father, Dashrath, didn't have the opportunity because Lord Ram was away. So, of course, Jatayu could not save Mother Sita, but the efforts were there that while attempting, he gave up his own life during that process. And that's what Lord looks at. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It was a great session. Hare Krishna. We look forward for your association in future as well, Prabhuji. Hare.
Thank you, bro. I look forward to all of your association. Thank you very much for inviting.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Please do come back again, Prabhuji.
Hare.
Sure. Jagannatha Kripa Sindhu Dev Patitanam
Jai Srila Prabhupada
Hey,
Jai
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna,
Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, devotees. We look forward to see you next weekend, and we will start mantra 4. So sorry, we have taken just 3 minutes extra this time. We look forward to see you next Saturday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.